This is the biggest embezzlement scam that you have never heard of. In fact, Rita Crundwell's case is the biggest municipal fraud in American history, and it took place in a little dot on the map known as Dixon, Illinois. Before Crundwell brought it into the spotlight, Dixon was most famous for being Ronald Reagan's childhood home. That's about it. The town had just 3 full-time employees, and Rita was one as comptroller and treasurer. The majority of employees were part-time and held other jobs to keep their financial heads above water. For example, the mayor made $9,000 and he had a Cadillac showroom somewhere or whatever. Crundwell started as a secretary to the mayor right out of high school in 1974 and was appointed to her city financial post in 1983. It was a sweet deal for her. Crundwell was a horse lover and eventually became what was one of the best quarter horse breeders in the country. Her equine business took up several months a year on the road, going off to horse shows and the like. It was certainly more than her paid 4 weeks of vacation allowed. But the small town controller had a luxury motorhome she traveled around in, all tricked out, and she was generally on call for her town duties, even if she was away. The folks of Dixon figured they had a pretty good deal, as Rita docked her own pay every day she took a day off and was still available for work by phone or email. That's their Rita. This is, these are all her neighbors and friends. No one was quite sure how Crundwell afforded the fancy motorhome and the swanky horse farm, in addition to some pricey clothes, furs, jewelry, and all this on her $83,000 annual salary. Don't forget, minus all the days that she was being unpaid for taking the day off. But everybody knew she sold lots of horses. They figured that that's where all her money came from and the 3 homes she owned. Others assumed that she'd inherited money from somewhere, despite the fact that the townspeople knew her parents, who were local people and not at all wealthy. This was a perfect instance of people seeing what they wanted to. They believed she was trustworthy. She was one of them, and so they didn't question it. Therefore, it came as quite a shock when in 2011, Kathy Swanson, Crundwell's assistant, discovered a strange bank account when she was covering at the office during one of Crundwell's many absences, an account that had been opened back in 1990. It was the city of Dixon was the primary account holder, and the secondary account holder, Rita Crundwell. The scam was fairly simple. Crundwell would draw up fake invoices, oftentimes misspelling things, just on a typewriter. She would misspell town and Illinois and things like this. So she would drop the fake invoices, then transfer the money from the legitimate City of Dixon bank account and deposit it into the dummy account. Any audit at all in 30 years would have uncovered this scam, but no one ever checked. Why would they? This was Rita. She worked for the town or for them all these years. And so she got away with writing nearly 200 of these fake invoices for road repairs and other items, in addition to checks from the city account to the RSCDA, her account, that were made out directly to treasurer. Even some of the checks were made out to equestrian facilities and spas, and they escaped attention. Since no one was watching, no one was noticing. So it started small, but in a few years after opening the account, Rita Crundwell was making checks out to fairly large amounts, like $300,000, $500,000. Over the course of many years, all these 30 years, sit down, I hope you're all sitting, Rita Crundwell sold $53 million from the town of Dixon, Illinois, right out of the pockets of her friends and neighbors. At the same time that she was filling her coffees, the city of Dixon often couldn't afford the most basic repairs and updates. I know the police cars had all these old used radios. There were streets that badly needed repair. There was a water treatment facility that didn't get built. When Swanson, the secretary, found the dummy account, she was floored. It was Rita, after all. She immediately brought it to the attention of the mayor, who wasted no time in calling the FBI. 6 months later, they were ready, and one morning in April 2012, Rita Crundwell was called into Mayor Burke's office, where the FBI was waiting for her. Rita confessed. After all, she was caught red-handed. There was nothing much she could do, and she fully cooperated with the FBI. This is not in the book, but my favorite part is the mayor was so upset by now when asked on what his thoughts, his comments on the on the episode was, he said, "Turned out Rita Crundwell didn't give a shit about this town."